Hello and welcome to everyone to this episode number 27 of Deep Point with GillyCricket. I see a few people have already sent in their comments and questions, and both of them have been regular viewers of shows of cricket.com. One is Rohan Patil, the other is Subodh Chauhan. Subodh Chauhan is not wasting any time whatsoever, and he straight away asks me thoughts on the Sky 83 knock on a slow pitch in 30-20 versus West Indies, how superior he was on that pitch where West Indies batters struggled. I mean, so far we know what Sky is capable of, and that was just one of those innings which add a lot more to his CV. I was slightly disappointed that he couldn't get his fourth T20 100, because if he had got that, he would have been at par with Rohit Sharma with four T20 100s, the most for an Indian batter. And yeah, I mean, it, there have often been times where it has looked like that Surya Kumar Yadav has batted on a different pitch altogether, and that was just one of those innings. So yeah, I mean, it was just Surya Kumar Yadav doing Surya Kumar Yadav things. Rohan Patil wants to know, if one wants to get into this profession you are working, what are the things one must have in their resume? I think the first thing that you need to have in your resume is an unsatiable hunger for watching the game of cricket. That is one. And the other is that you should be willing to read a lot more of cricket literature, because I think that's the only way you can enhance your cricket knowledge and understanding. So yeah, and it can also come on the job if you start writing on the sport. So these are the few things that I'd recommend that you do. And yeah, I'll slowly get into the agenda for today. The agenda for today is to discuss that, what all can we expect from the three T20Is that start tomorrow between India and Ireland. Of course, the big news is that Jasprit Bumrah is back after a layoff. So is Prasidh Krishna. You could say that the entire first 11, or majority of the first 11 is rested. There is no, even from the squad that played versus West Indies, there are notable exclusions. There's no Hardik Pandya, there's no Surya Kumar Yadav, there is no Yuzvendra Chahal, there is no Kuldeep Yadav. There is no Shubman Gill, and there's no Ishan Kishan either. So we could expect a lot of new faces. There is Rinku Singh in the squad. There is Jitesh Sharma in the squad. So yeah, we could probably expect someone like Ravi Bishnoi to get a few more games. There is Shahbaz Ahmed in the squad. So a lot to look forward to from that aspect. To understand that who is in India's plans for the futures and who isn't, and how much are India looking to persist with a few players. So that is there. I'll keep taking questions as well, while we go through the show. Subodh Chavan's asking, do you have any news of Shreyas and KL's fitness? Will they be in Asia Cup and World Cup? I think we'll get to know soon. At this point of time, to quote reports may not be the best thing to do, because so many times those reports have turned out to be inaccurate. I mean, there have been contrasting reports, wherein a few reports say that KL Rahul will not be available, the others say that he will be. So the best is to wait and watch and rely on BCCI for those updates. They will come when they come. I mean, that's all I can say on those updates. But it is what it is, and we've actually done a whole show on how the lack of communication by BCCI doesn't really help the Indian fans and the Indian cricket fraternity in general. That whole show was a part of our series where we talk about how to fix Indian cricket. If you really like the content that we do, I'd suggest that you do go in and check that series. Before I take the next question, I also want to ask you guys to please subscribe to cricket.com and like this show. We really need the likes on the videos, so that cricket.com will always be on your feed, and you get notifications for the videos and all the content that come up of cricket.com. And if you also like the work that we do, you can follow us on various social media. You can follow us on Instagram. You can also follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. We are there on Facebook as well. So there's that. And now I'll take the next question with regards to this this episode. Vishwas R says, how much chances does Prasidh have to make it into the World Cup 15 squad? I don't think there is space enough yet, because I feel if everyone's fit, Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, and Shardul will be the four pacers. I doubt India will have a fifth pacer, because there is Hardik as well who will bowl. But yeah, he could be in the reserves if someone gets injured, provided he himself does well in this series and the consequent games that he plays. I- Aman asks, isn't Ravi Shastri suggesting current team management about middle order batters for ODI World Cup ironic? It is. What becomes more ironic is that what he suggested about Virat Kohli batting at number four is something that India could have tried, because at that point of time Kohli was in his prime. He was playing spin much better. He could have easily nailed down that number four role, and India did bat one game wherein I think Virat Kohli batted at number four. It was versus Australia, where Pant got concussion. KL Rahul had batted three, and then KL Rahul had moved to five because India had lost that game, and then Virat Kohli moved back to number three. So it is ironical, and that one statement or the other statement that he's given about try and get in players who are hot, they just sum up what was his coaching tenure. A lot of his instincts sometimes worked and many times it didn't. So Ravi Shastri these days will, I've said it enough. I think he's forgotten his time as a coach himself, and the things that he suggests are in complete contrast to what happened while he was the coach. So there's that. Sport fan says, though this is a repeated question at this time, but Sanju is set to be dropped from World Cup based on T20 failures, and he's not in Asian Games squad. Really disappointed with it. Uh, I think let's just wait for that confirmation to come in. I'm really not sure if he'll be dropped from the ODI squad straight away. Let's just wait for it and see those who are in the Asian Games squad. It is a clear-cut indicator that the players playing in the Asian Games squad will not be taking part or are not in the plans for the World Cup. At least they're not in the first 15 for sure. So that way, not being in the Asian Games squad is a positive sign when it comes to your participation in the World Cup. The next question is by Anurag Jha. Uh, will you have Tilak in your 15 of Asia Cup? If everyone is fit, then no. Santosh Udappa says Prasidh Krishna bowling action is prone to injuries. It is. So is Jasprit Bumrah's. A lot of fast bowlers' actions are prone to injuries. So yeah, it's not a surprise. Fast bowling in itself is a very unnatural process or an unnatural activity on the human body. Fast bowlers getting injured is not surprising. Fast bowlers not getting injured is surprising. So when you see someone like James Anderson lasting long, and the amount of cricket that he's played, I think he's played one more than 180 test matches now. That is surprising. Fast bowlers getting injured is not surprising. Subodh Chavan says, is Ishan Kishan very lucky to play for India, considering he never looks comfortable on any type of pitch and any type of bowling? So much deficiency is batting always spot on. Uh, See, I just say that he got into the team on he got into the team first time in the 2021 series versus England, and then he got into that World Cup squad because he could provide what Shreyas and what a combination of Shreyas and Shikhar Dhawan could have provided. He was a left-hander who could bash, spin, and play in the middle order, and India really did not have enough left-handed options. So that is something that goes in his favor. Also, when it comes to ODIs, he's grabbed his chances, so we can't really grudge him his success in ODIs. Yes, there are deficiencies. The biggest indicator of those deficiencies are if you look at his domestic record, wherein he has an average of less than 40 in first class cricket and district cricket. And that tells you why, when you look at him play and when you look at his dot ball percentage or when you look at him struggle versus quality bowling, you try and get an explanation why he's average under 40. But in ODIs, he's still done decently. I don't think, we can grudge him that success. Shivam Sharma says, which two players would you pick between Jitesh, Rinku, and Dubey for Ireland T20s? So I'll get to this. Before I get to this, because there's another question that has come in by Pranav Anand, who asks, if you had the option to choose between Dubey and Samson, who would you pick? Both struggle versus hard lengths, former even more so. So since 2022, India scores at 119 versus uh, slow left arm orthodox. So better to have that much needed SLA basher. So before I get to this, I just want to showcase you guys what the squad is for these Ireland T20Is. Just give me a moment. So as you guys can see, this is the squad. There is uh, Bumrah, there is Ruturaj Gaikwad, there is Yashasvi Jaiswal, there is Rinku Singh, Sanju Samson, Jitesh Sharma, uh, Shivam Dube, Washington Sundar, Shahbaz Ahmed, Ravi Bishnoi, Prasidh Krishna, Arshdeep Singh, and Mukesh Kumar, and Avesh Khan. So if you see again the all round options that are there, those are Washington Sundar and Shahbaz Ahmed. These two are your all round options. I wouldn't really consider Tilak Verma as an all rounder yet, and I wouldn't really consider Shivam Dube as an all rounder also, because he did not bowl in the IPL. So what my 11 would be is something which will I now have on the screen, and I will have my explanations for it. My 11 looks like this: Yashasvi Jaiswal and Ruturaj Gaikwad to open, Tilak Verma at number 3, Shivam Dube at number 4 because he was outstanding as a spin basher in the IPL, Sanju Samson at 5, Jitesh Sharma at 6, Washington Sundar at 7, Ravi Bishnoi at 8, Jasprit Bumrah, Prasidh Krishna, and Arshdeep Singh as the three fast bowlers. Now, again, the problem with this 11 is that batting pretty much finishes at 7, but I want to give chances to Ravi Bishnoi, and yeah, so this is the 11 that I have. I want to give chances to Ravi Bishnoi, which is why I have him in the 11, because he did not really get enough chances. He has not been getting enough chances anyway. And if I play him, I also need to play, Jasprit Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna will play for sure. Given it's Ireland, you will need a third pacer. So you have Arshdeep Singh in. India don't have the luxury of Hardik Pandya. And if Shabazz Ahmed plays, I don't think he's good enough to be a number 7 right now. I'd rather have Washington Sundar as a number 7. So if Shabazz Ahmed plays, he will have to play in place of Ravi Bishnoi. So this is the 11 that I am going in with. And now I'll start taking in your questions. Um, Also, the order can slightly, what I like about this 11 is it has four left-handers in the top 7. It has Yashasvi Jaiswal as a left-hander, then Tilak Verma as a left-hander, Shivam Dube as a left-hander, and Washington Sundar as a left-hander. So India can maintain a left-hand right hand combination up till number 7 if they want. So that is why I framed the 11 like this. I'll now be taking the questions once again. Let me just take this graphic away. So yeah, I hope you guys like the 11. You can give in your you can give in your views. I'll start taking the comments. Just hold on. uh, Sagar Chandra says yet another 11 with a big fat tail. Yeah, unfortunately, there is no other option. Like I said, India have only two all round options, and those are Washington Sundar and Shahbaz Ahmed. I don't think that Shahbaz Ahmed can play as a 4 overs bowler as number 8. Also, I want to give Ravi Bishnoi the chances, given he's not had many chances. So I am okay with this 11 because I want to give Ravi Bishnoi the chances that he deserves. So that is why I have to stick with this 11, because I feel it is high time that Ravi Bishnoi gets a consistent run in the Indian T20I 11. Gaming Finger says Rinku Singh. Well, I could have only selected two out of Jitesh, Rinku, and Shivam Dube, and I think given the fact that Rinku is slightly a slow starter as compared to Jitesh, I had to go with Jitesh, and I don't think Dube's place is in question as a number 4 because of how he did in the IPL. John Smith says, any clue why Deepak Chahar hasn't been selected for T20Is considering he can bat? I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with his fitness, because he's not been able to play 5 games for India in a row. Neural Hacks with Vasant asks, KL seems to be available. Would you play a lineup like this in case Tilak is not there? Rohit, Gill, Kohli, KL, Hardik, Sky, Jadeja, Akshar, Shardul, Bumrah, Siraj, Kuldeep, considering Hardik playing way. I think if you're talking about ODIs yet, and yeah, I don't mind this 11. Sports fan says, what do you make of decision of Bumrah being made captain after recovering from injury? Shouldn't we have allowed him time to focus on his bowling alone? See, I think the way India see it, this is not really a test of captaincy as such. India expect themselves to beat Ireland, and Bumrah's been made the captain purely on, on the basis of being the senior most player there, and he has done captaincy once. He was the captain in that Edgbaston test, so yeah, I don't have issues with that. If ECB are selecting Gus Atkinson and CA are selecting Sanga and Hardy for the World Cup, even though they haven't played ODIs, why is there such a furor over BCCI potentially selecting Tilak? Uh, I don't. I think these are the preliminary squads. When the squads will probably get cut down, I think Sanga and Hardy may not be there. Uh, Anyway, the furor there will always be furor in the Indian cricket circuit whenever there is something being tried out. Okay, England can try it out; they can have that player as a reserve player, but in India there will always be furor whether you have him or whether you have a new player or you don't have a new player. It's just how the Indian cricketing fraternity functions. It's as simple as that. You could have the most basic and straightforward decision being taken, and there would be furor. So I don't think there's much that can be read much into it. Aman says, still remember when Deepak Chahar played couple of match-winning ODI in Knox batting when Dravid was part-time coach. What a drawn foul due to injury. Yes, I mean, him not being fit enough is something that has ensured that India has stuck with someone like Shardul Thakur for a longer run. Pranav asked me, isn't it better to play four bowlers and try and extract 4 overs from Dubey, Tilak, Jaiswal? If you've to groom a six bowler, he should be put in a situation where it's certain he will be required versus Ireland, West Indies. They should do this. I don't disagree to this. I think it's a fair. I think it's a very fair question and a fair line of thought. The only reason, like I've been mentioning, why I have batting finishing at 7 is because I want Bishnoi to be tried out. I don't think Bishnoi will otherwise get his chances. If India was sure of Bishnoi being their primary spinner or even being their second spinner, I would have gone with what you said. But because I want India to play Bishnoi is the reason why I have Bishnoi at 8. No other reason. I don't disagree with your line of thought, Pranav. Here, I think it's a fair enough line of thought, and it's something that India should look at. But I already explained why I'm going in with this. Subodh Chavan says, don't you think Tilak Verma better talented batter than Gill, considering he can bat in top five anywhere and even better player of spin? See, being a better player of spin doesn't necessarily make someone a better talent. Tilak Verma is still yet to be tested as much as Gill, because let's not forget that Tilak Verma has only played in West Indies. Gill has been around in the international circuit for 2 years. He's been tested. His weakness is known. He's played in England. He's played in Australia, and teams have had the chance to. And he's played some quality attacks. He's really played some quality attacks. I don't think Tilak has played those quality attacks yet. What stands out for me when it comes to Tilak Verma is his temperament, and I think it will keep him in good stead going forward in international cricket. But I really think it's too soon to say whether he's more talented batter than Gill or not. I really think it's just too soon to say. On the basis of five T20Is, I don't think we can say that, because everyone said pretty much similar things for Shubman Gill after those three test matches in Australia. So we've got to hold on to our horses and wait for some time before we make any kind of assessment like that. Shivam Sharma says, do you think Pandya should be given media management? He speaks too many illogical statements to be the captain. No. Uh, I even though I don't agree with him, I like the fact that there is someone who's speaking what is on their mind, because uh, even when we have cricketers who've been given media management, they will come out and say the stuff that media wants to say, and they will do something completely entirely opposite. So I think this is a very trivial issue. As long as the players are tactically spot on, especially your captains and coach, I think other things are just fine. And if they do say something which doesn't go well down with the fans, then yeah, the journalist can, ask follow-up questions and get the cricketers to answer it. And also, one thing that people need to understand and realize is that when it comes to discussing tactics, there is seldom something which is completely objectively 100% correct, because uh, a lot of cricket discussion and cricket analysis is subjective, and a lot of cricket discussions are also based on hindsight. And the benefit of hindsight is something that most captains or any cap the benefit of hindsight is something that captains don't have. So we need to keep that in mind before we actually, talk about these things. I don't want, though, that kind of media management, because then we might just hear statements which are just practiced, well rehearsed, and with they will not mean anything. So might as well have a captain who just speaks his mind. Melvin Meneses asks, "Do you reckon India should opt for tailenders who can bat, or should go ahead with bowling specialists and take a risk of depending on top order completely in general, not for a tournament World Cup?" See, I think white ball cricket in general is moving towards cricketers who are not just who offer something in at least two departments. I think, uh, you know, if you are a one department specialist, then you have to be really, really good at it. Otherwise, your survival in the format is difficult. It is going to happen anyway. I think the problem with India is that I don't think on in the grassroots level, having being a multidisciplined cricketer is something that is encouraged. And fast bowling is anyway not easy. In India, it becomes tougher, and the competition is too much. So you try and improve on that aspect a lot more, and you try and become, a better fast bowler, rather than, try and be a fast bowler who can bat a little bit. And very rarely you will see in India that bowling all rounders would be wrist spinners or fast bowlers. They are mostly finger spinners, because out of these three bowling disciplines, finger spin is far more easier to manage, and you have some time to at least concentrate on your batting. If you are a wrist spinner, you have to put in far more hours to work on your control. If you're a fast bowler, you have to put in far more hours just to be fit and, avoid injuries. So uh, these are the limitations that we face in reality, and they just have to be, addressed one at a time. Just Cricket asked me, do you think there are worrying signs from Arshdeep with the kind of form he's having since recent IPL and not able to be economical in death overs? See, if he has a bad series versus Ireland, then yes, there will be worrying signs. What I've noticed with Arshdeep is that now he's realized that just Yorkers cannot be the way to go in the death overs. He has started to try out the odd bouncer. On days where it doesn't work, he goes for a lot of runs. On days it works, he's able to, bowl decently. But again, he's also a young cricketer. You'll have to give him time to improve. And sometimes these obstacles are also important for a young cricketer, because they help you iron out the flaws in the game, right? So I just think that people need to be a little patient with guys like Gill, Arshdeep, Tilak Verma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, because these guys need some time, right? You have to keep in mind what are their respective ages, and then try and, make an assessment, because I feel sometimes you make those assessments too soon. Sivanang Koti asks, "Is there an outside chance Rishabh Pant will be in reserve players in World Cup?" I don't think so. Santosh Udappa says, "Is there any merit in keeping T20 series with Ireland now?" Uh, you could ask this question for a lot of series. I don't mind this, because India are playing almost their second 11. It gives India a chance to try out their few players. It gives India a chance to play out players who are coming back from injury. So this still has more merit, I feel, than India playing an ODI series versus West Indies, to be very honest. Sarvanand asks, why is favoritism showing in Indian cricket for so-called experts? Surya scored consecutively three over ducks and failed in ODIs, but this dropped Sanju based on T20Is. How is it fair? See, again, uh, I think what people need to understand and realize is that the art of selecting teams, or a play, or whether it is a playing 11 or a squad, is not entirely dependent upon the numbers that a player has. It is based on the comfort level that the decision maker has with a particular player, the faith the decision makers have in terms of the skills of a certain player, and the number of opportunities that they are willing to give to a specific player given their respective ceilings. So that is something that people need to understand, because if we were only selecting teams on the basis of numbers, you could have a AI software, you could have chat GPT do it for you. So just because there is preference to select a particular player on the basis of their skills, it isn't necessarily a favoritism. That is how teams are selected in general. Selecting teams or 11 or a squad is by default a practice which involves subjectivity. It is not an entirely objective practice. People need to understand that. And as far as those three ducks are concerned, I don't think you know much can be read into someone's batting on the basis of three ducks. Yes, Sanju Samson has a better ODI record. My preference is also Sanju Samson. But just on the basis of those three ducks, I will not write off Surya Kumar Yadav, the ODI player, because he's immensely skillful. He's immensely skillful. I would like India to give him a decent run. I would like India to probably give him a few more games. Maybe they don't do it before the World Cup, but I just hope that he's still there in India's plans as someone who can be someone like Maxwell at number 6 or Livingston for England, because he has that capability, right? Also, I don't think Sanju is entirely out of the ODI plans. Why he did not play that first game is because there was no space. When they realized and understood that they wanted to give Sanju chance, they left out Rohit and Virat out of the 11. So yeah, I mean there's only space for one of them. Uh, for me, it would have been Sanju Samson, but if the team management wants to go with Surya Kumar Yadav basis his skill set, I don't think much can be done over there. And it will always happen. It's not just a favoritism thing. It has happened with each and every captain in the history of sport. Because if you are in that where you are responsible for taking those decisions, you want to take those decisions with which you are comfortable with, right? You cannot take those decisions on the basis of what others are saying on the outside. So this is something very important to understand. To label it as favoritism, I don't think cuts it. Shivam Sharma asks, do you think Akash Madhwal should have been picked for Ireland T20 as he bowled far better than Mukesh and Avesh in the IPL? I don't know what is the deal with Avesh Khan when it comes to this team management, because he was dropped after the game versus Hong Kong in Asia Cup last year. Then he played three ODIs versus South Africa where he bowled well but was unlucky, did not get wickets because there were many drop catches of his bowling. And now he's back into the reckoning. He was in the squad even versus West Indies, but he did not get a game. I don't see him getting a game here either. So yeah, I mean Akash Madhwal could have been there, but I am not really sure that how much it would have helped him, because I don't see how he would have gotten a game. As far as Mukesh is concerned, I just think Mukesh is the new Mavi. Right now, they like him, but we'll have to see how far it goes when it comes to trying him out. Tanmay Agarwal says Ireland series is prep for coming T20 World Cup, but I think some of the performances will affect the coming Asia Cup and World Cup selections. Why do you think selectors will? Who do you think the selectors will have their eyes on? Tilak, Bumrah, and Prasidh. Pretty much what you have said. Maybe even Jaiswal. You don't know, but yeah, could be these players. Anyway, before I take the next question, I want to ask you guys who are watching that please like the video and also subscribe to cricket.com if you like this content. Share this video and the series with whosoever you know is a cricket fanatic. Just share our channel actually. Whosoever you know, whether they are friends or family, whosoever are is a cricket fanatic, just ask them to like our content, follow us on social media, because we keep posting a lot of snippets and nuggets during the game as well. Tomorrow we'll be having a watch along for the first T20. There will be a watch along for the entire series. So do tune in, and they will be fun as usual. There will be me, there will be Avnish, there will be Nikhil, there will be other people from the office. So please do tune in to those watch alongs, and don't forget to like this video. Now I'll take the next question. Thank you for hearing me out patiently. Advaitya Anand asks, what role can Indian cricket viewers play in bracket as individuals when it comes to influencing the current cricket infrastructure in a positive? Keep asking the right questions and be fans, but don't be blind fans of any cricketer, because I feel when you indulge into blind fandom, you lose objectivity. And you because I've seen enough on social media where I've seen, there are fans of particular cricketers who care more about the performances of those individuals rather than the team result. So as individuals, you should be fan of the Indian team rather than being a bigger fan of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, MS Dhoni, etc., etc. Right? I know there are people who take digs and talk about MS Dhoni, the captain, when the team loses. That, oh, what MS Dhoni did, others couldn't achieve. I don't think that is constructive in any way. And why I feel that you need to keep asking the right question is because when you talk about Indian cricket infrastructure, you also talk about the facilities that are there for fans in the stadium. So keep asking the right questions. Don't indulge in blind fandom, and try and be as objective as possible with an open mind. I think uh, that should be the role. Not only anyone should play as a cricket viewer, but that is something that you should play just as a good citizen. Yeah, simple as that. So, moving on to the next question. This is actually a very good question by Aditya Anand. Thank you, Aditya. Uh, Shubham Sharma says, I don't understand why India possesses with Chahal. He cannot bat and field. Better to invest in Bishnoi, Rahul Chahar. I don't think anyone knows this. To be very honest, it's very frustrating. I have spoken about this. I've tweeted about this enough, but I really don't know what is the deal when it comes to Rajendra Chahal. Sachin Mundal says, can we discuss the playing 11 for tomorrow's game? Sachin, I have already discussed it. I have shared it. This is my playing 11. Please just have a look. Uh, I'll just hide your comment so that you can see the full 11. This is the full 11 once again for those who have tuned in later. This is my 11. Yashasvi Jaiswal and Ruturaj Gaikwad to open. Tilak Ravarma at number 3. Shivam Dubey at 4. Sanju Samson at 5. Jitesh Sharma at 6. Washington Sundar at 7, Ravi Bishnoi at 8, Bumrah, Prasidh Krishna, and Arshdeep Singh, the three paces to follow. I'm very sorry to Rinku Singh fans that I couldn't really fit him in the 11, but it is what it is. I'm sorry. Please don't go after me. And hopefully, Rinku Singh does get his chance somewhere along the line very soon. But it is impossible to fit all three of Shivam Dubey, Jitesh Sharma, and Rinku Singh. Shubham Sharma says, Bet Rahul Dravid should be removed as T20 coach. Better to make Morgan or Watson as coach. They know how to play current style of T20. Uh, just hold on. I'll just remove this. Yeah. See, uh, I mean, you could change the coach, but there are some structural issues in Indian cricket. So I'm really not sure uh, how much can that change when it comes to changing the coach, or if you change the coach. Chirag Single says, why so much favoritism for Ishan? If you can't play at 4, then no problem, you can open, but you will be in the team for sure. And for you to open, we can even sacrifice his world's best Virat position. When was Virat's position sacrificed? And see, very simply, if you want to give youngsters chances, somewhere down the line, seniors will have to make some way for them. Virat Kohli sat out the last two games, so did Rohit Sharma. So it's okay. It's not a big deal. Again, individuals are not bigger than the development of the team. It's very simple. That is something that people need to understand. It's something that I said early on as well. Uh, Rinku had a miserable strike rate against him in both the IPLs he's played in. Does that make him a one-dimensional player and potentially a liability? I think he starts slow. I don't think that he is a bad player of spin. I just think he starts slow, and when he's coming into bat in the 13th over or the 14th over, he takes a couple of overs before he goes. He starts going after the bowling, and in the end, he's also faced more of pace. So I'm really not sure that I'd say that he's a one-dimensional player. Pranay Yadav's asking me, sir, are you following CPL? There's a player named Roshan Primus. He's been doing quite well in CPL last season and is a proper power hitter and a 135 plus bowler. I'm not, but our writers at cricket.com are. The previews have been out. They just did the previews, and I think the CPL are also started yesterday. So you can, keep following CPL scores and CPL related articles on our app on cricket.com. But because we have people who are following it and doing detailed analysis on it. Shubham Sharma says, Paji, one honest admission is that when England, Australia, New Zealand throws new player, it straight away looks like he belongs to international, but India don't. I'm not sure of this, honestly, because if you look at Cameron Green, in his debut series versus India, he didn't really do much. But he's now become a better player. Uh, so, yeah, I'm not really sure of this, to be very honest. Actually, it all comes down to where the player is making that debut. I think a lot of times uh, these countries give their youngsters debuts in home conditions, and that makes it easier. With India, that doesn't happen as often, and that is why the challenge for Indian youngsters sometimes is bigger as opposed to what the youngsters or new players from Australia, New Zealand, or England will find out. Subodh Chauhan says, "Man, next T20 World Cup will be difficult for India to qualify for semi-finals, considering slow pitches and we have players who are who are comfortable." It's that the next T20 World Cup is still an year away. A lot can change in that 1 year. I don't think we should look so far right now. We should just focus on the ODI World Cup that's coming in. Neural hacks with Vasant ask, do you think Gill is suitable for opening considering his weakness against incoming balls after World Cup? What kind of top three would you like to see considering Ayer and KL at 5 and Hardik at 6? I think in white ball it's fine. The ball doesn't swing much. I think beyond the seventh, eighth over it doesn't. And in white ball it also doesn't swing as much. So in white ball, Gill opening is fine. Sagar Chandra says, important six games for Jaiswal and Gaikwad, Ireland plus Asian games should be the second opener with Gill given BCCI is done testing for Kishin. True. Is Hardik Pandya good enough leader to lead young side with less experience and the statement he gives just don't make any sense? I've addressed this anyway. I think Hardik as a leader has a lot to learn, purely in terms of tactics. Uh, See, experience part of the team comes in later. You need to understand and realize what are the strengths and weaknesses of the players that are playing for you, and you should know how to utilize them fully, right? Uh, the experience bit comes in much later. First, Hardik needs to know that, in my opinion. Aman asks, "What's your opinion of the ticket prices of some of the matches in Asia Cup by PCV? Highest being 20,000 USD. What? I heard that prices were, just way over the top, but 20,000 USD is just, I mean, it's a joke. I don't know how people will afford it, to be very honest. Sport fan says Brook lost his place for Stokes, which is completely understandable after his IPL stint. How do you see this decision? Similar decision in Indian team would have faced backlash from fans. See, uh, No, I mean, if a lot of Indian fans, if you ask them about bringing back MS Dhoni, they would be very much okay with it. Uh, See, Stokes is one kind of player where his reputation precedes his actual performances because of what he's done at the highest level so many times in difficult situations. And yes, he has that experience. He has come good in those tough situations so many times. So, uh, yeah, I mean, Stokes is one player who you would really want to ask to come back from retirement, and it's not something that India haven't done. In the 2003 World Cup, on the request of Saurav Ganguly, Javagal Srinath came out of retirement and played that World Cup. I was too young back then, so I really don't know what if it was met with backlash or was it a welcome move. I don't know. I don't remember that, to be very honest. So yeah, uh, maybe if an Indian cricketer, also what you need to realize is that a lot of Indian cricketers retire uh, when they are not at their best anymore. Ben Stokes is still able to contribute and play decent amount of cricket. He just left one format because he didn't enjoy it. But even when he retired, many people had predicted that he will come back for the World Cup, given how it's the biggest event. And yeah, it's not surprising. But there's also another reason why this will not happen in India, because cricketers really retire uh, way past their shelf life. It might sound harsh, but it is very, very true, I feel, in Indian context. No point in taking games because almost everyone retires way past their their prime. Sky Lister average is very similar to that of Maxwell and Livingston. No reason his ODI performance can't replicate theirs too. This is what I said, that he could very well, you know, he could actually very well be someone like that for India. Just India need to be patient. John Smith says your Q&A is very similar to Wagon Wheel by Jared Kimber. Uh, I think this is the highest praise anyone working in the field of cricket can receive, and that is to be compared to Jared Kimber, because I am a huge fan of Jared Kimber myself. I think he's an institution when it comes to cricket content, whether it's about writing articles, tweets, writing books, making movies on cricket, doing podcasts, making videos. Jared has done everything, and yeah, to be compared to Jared is an honor for anyone who works in the field of cricket content. So thank you so much, John, for this comment. Uh, Really, probably has made my day, to be very honest. John Smith says, feel that Jitesh Sharma, a middle order player, and Rinku a better finisher. The latter might be a better fish fit at six. The only reason I have Jitesh Sharma at six is that he's a quicker starter than Rinku. That's the only reason. Uh, no other reason. Uh, Sir, did you really saw Bumrah bowling yesterday in nets look threatening? More happy as an Indian fan. Sir, do you think Bumrah Yorker is much tougher than any other bowler? The latter part, answering the latter question first, his Yorker does get a lot more dip than the Yorker by other players. So yes, for sure. See, as of now, I'm just happy to see Bumrah bowl. I mean, I think with time he'll get back to his best. But as long as he can deliver those 4 overs or 10 overs without any distress in his body, I'm fine with it. Uh, I am hoping that by the time the World Cup comes, he can get to his best. And yeah, that's all one can hope for as an Indian fan. Chirag Singhal says, I'm talking about the World Cup. Reports are coming that Ishan will open, Gill will play at 3, and Virat will play at 4. There was this one report which spoke of, this in Asia Cup. I'm not sure how true it is going to be. If that happens, I'd rather have Gill at 4 rather than Virat Kohli at 4, because I feel Gill's a better player of spin right now. And you need someone like Virat. You really don't want to move someone like Virat Kohli to number 4 right now. Chuchan says, Paji, how can we keep trusting Dravid given that he has no pedigree as a coach? He might be a great player, but as a coach, I have never seen him win tournaments. Uh, See, sometimes, and I say this for all coaches, I say this for all managements, I say this for all captains, I don't judge them by the results, because results are not entirely in your control. You could do whatever best that you could have done, but the opponent can be better. My disappointment with Dravid and this current management lies with the fact that they have completely, let go of the process that they used to talk about post the T20 World Cup last year. Before that, I was more than happy with them because I could see that they were following a pecking order, they were giving player chances, they had some method to their madness. As long as you have that method to the madness, I think results will come eventually. But right now, they're not doing that. That is my bigger problem. Not being able to win tournaments is not really something that I hold anyone, against anyone, because a lot of things need to fall in place for teams to win tournaments, including some luck, right? So I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni is one of the best captains that I have seen, and that's not because India won a T20 World Cup or an ODI World Cup or a Champions Trophy under him, or he has won those 5 IPLs. I say that because he's the most intelligent cricketing mind I've come across. He understands the game, the pulse of the game very well. So that is why, for me, he remains the best captain. Not because he has won trophies, to be very honest. And that's how I judge captains, coaches, or managements. Because sometimes I feel you don't have resources to deliver those trophies, but you can still always maximize what you have. And I think with Mahendra Singh Dhoni, that has happened. He's maximized whatever resources he's had. Do you think there's a chance where both Gaikwad and Jaswal do grow it in those 6 matches? They both play ahead of Gill, or no? That's not going to happen. Gill will play in the World Cup. It would be very unlike of this management if both Gaikwad and Jaswal replace Gill. Uh, I don't think that's happening. KL versus Hardik versus Iyer versus Pant. Who would you want to lead India? Uh, okay, this I actually have to put this question on. This is an outstanding question. Uh, I feel tactically KL is good. Tactically, I find KL better than all three of them. But what KL doesn't have is that KL doesn't have the confidence or the conviction in his own methods, and I've seen this far too often with him. As a captain, you could be doing most things right, you could be logical, but you also need to have a certain amount of confidence in your skills, in your methodology, which I don't think KL has. That is a very big red flag for KL as far as I'm concerned. Versus Hardik, I've spoken about his captaincy a lot. I don't think he knows how to utilize his resources in the best way possible. uh, Pant is the youngest of the lot, so he has more time to improve. I thought that he was a better captain in 2022 as opposed to 2021. He's improved but he still has some time to go. With Shreyas, again, he started off like Pant. People forget that Shreyas wasn't a great captain in 2018, 2019, 2020. He had his fair share of mistakes, but because Delhi were able to qualify for those playoffs, people forgot that. I think Shreyas and Pant both have the confidence which KL doesn't have. They have conviction in their abilities, but I don't think they are as tactically sound as KL. Ideal person out of these four is nobody, but if someone like uh, KL also doesn't have age on his side, but if one of Iyer or Pant can develop that that tactical nuance that KL has, or that understanding, I wouldn't mind one of them being a captain. I don't see how Iyer becomes a Test captain anyway. Pant can be a shout for that, but yes, Iyer can be an ODI captain if he, like I said, if he could replicate KL's nuance. Your opinion about South Africa sending a B team to New Zealand Test Series next February? Most pundits are criticizing them without shedding light on the financial unsustainability of Test cricket outside the big three. I think Test cricket is going to become a very closed format. I don't see more than 5 teams playing it outside the big three. Maybe Pakistan will play it. Maybe one of New Zealand or South Africa will play it. But yes, pundits will criticize it. But what South Africa need to do for the financial viability of their board and cricket in the country is something that they should do anyway. It will clash with SA20, so if they need players, maybe, who knows, it might just be an opportunity for South Africa to unearth new talents and probably get them into their team, because South Africa are really struggling with batters in the Test format. They don't have batters who can average more than 40. Their best Test batter outside of Dean Elgar, or maybe including Dean Elgar, has been Temba Bavuma. No one else is scoring runs, and even Temba Bavuma doesn't score a lot of hundreds. So they need batters. Hopefully, it helps them unearth a few good batting talents. Subodh Chavan says, asks thoughts on Sushant Mehta film journalist comments on cricket and uses some abusive language about Indian captain and other cricketers. Uh, See, people like him have become relevant because there are people who love to watch that language and indulge in it. So I blame people only to some extent for watching that and giving more views to, or more air to people like that, wherein uh, they speak a lot of nonsense where they, like you said, abuse cricketers, where they question their commitment, where they question their ethics. For me, as someone who's working in sport, that isn't on. That is not. That is not how I would operate. That is not how I would function, and I really don't encourage any kind of such shows. But it is up to people to, not watch content like this, because when you keep watching content like this, uh, it is only encouraging all that. And you see a lot of people tune into, that show. A lot of people subscribe to that show. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, he's doing what sells, and that sells. But to me, it's not something that I'll ever do. And yeah, I don't really view him in a great light. uh, I've had altercations with him. And yeah, because like you mentioned, he doesn't, you know there's a way to criticize. And I think what he does isn't just criticism, it is just ranting and rambling on whatever that comes into your head, for the basis of a few views. That is not something that I'll ever do or encourage. Santosh Udappa says only Indian team discussion on this live. Pretty much. Uh, Chuchan says Paji, had Dhoni not won a single trophy, he would not have played more than 100 international games. To be honest, trophies matters. That's how. I think he would have still played more than 100 international games. Maybe would have not captained 100 international games. People can judge the way they want. I am no one to stop that. I spoke of how I will judge somebody, so that's how I judge it. I mean, people can judge in their own way, but I just spoke of my methodology, and I can only speak about that. So this is about that. It's as simple as that. People are free to judge whatever or in whichever way they want. I am only there to provide them a different perspective. If they like it, they can follow it. If they don't, they can trash it. It's that simple as that. Chris Noons asks, do we need more research into the game of cricket using scientific methods to understand the game better? I see this happening so much in sports in the US. Yes, but unfortunately, we are still some time away, at least in the subcontinent, because you have ex-cricketers talking down upon data, talking down upon matchups, and playing the game purely on vibes. For me, talking about matchups is just expressing cricketing intelligence is number in numbers. So I don't know. And unfortunately, ex cricketers do sort of drive what will be the conversation or the mainstream conversation in cricketing circles, in especially in the cricket fraternity in subcontinent. So yes, there should be that, but I think in subcontinent we are a few years away from that, purely because uh, executors and experts are not ready to embrace uh, that technology and those methods in a large number. There is still skepticism, uh, and I find though that skepticism very unnecessarily and necessary, but it is what it is. Sport fan says, do you think we have failed to produce world class coaches? We see no Indian head coach in international circuit for other teams. Is this just lack of opportunity for them, or we need to work more on it? Uh, there are there are more than a few answers to this question. One is, in the Indian circuit, I think whosoever comes as a coach, they will have limitations to work with. They will have star egos to play with. They will have the board to work with, and they will never get full autonomy to run the team. That is the perception that I get from the outside. uh, Secondly, there is ample amount of opportunities for Indian ex-cricketers in broadcasting, because of the commentary in various languages that is there. So they really don't need to go out of their way and look for coaching opportunities outside of the country. There was a time where Sandeep Patil was a coach of Kenya's team. There was a time where Lalchand Rajput had worked with associate teams. So it's not that we haven't had coaches. We still have domestic coaches, in domestic teams, but uh, they get picked up by the IPL as scouts, etc., etc. So those who can be a coach, they have enough opportunities otherwise to work in the country, whether it is in broadcasting or as experts on shows, that I think they really don't need to take up those coaching opportunities outside. Maybe if they look for it, they would get it. So I'm also not the right person to comment on it, but I'm just, giving you the possible explanation what I can give from the outside. This is something that I feel could be the case. Aman says, even even today in IPL post-match presentation, MSD's answers are so specific and crystal clear, criticizing team players openly. His talks are so insightful and knowledgeable. Yes, and I think one of the things that he said that uh, we have to make sure that that common sense, we shouldn't really assume that something is common sense. That is something that he had said in one of uh, at stage somewhere, and it was very insightful that you still need to tell the players even the most basic things, because sometimes it might just miss their mind, or because they're thinking about everything else, that they might just miss out the basics. So it's always important to discuss the basics, because sometimes you might just miss out on them. So yes, I mean, I completely agree with Aman over there, and that is one of the reasons uh, why I rate MS so highly. John Smith asks, how is it that India, being such a vast and cricket crazy nation, isn't producing fast, in bracket, express bowlers, pace all rounders, power hitters, and now even wrist spinners? Are India only good at producing batters? I think India is producing power hitters. It's just that they are not reaching the international level, because uh, there are power hitters at the domestic level for sure, at the lower domestic levels. Uh, there are spinners as well. I again think it's just about trying to identify that talent. That is where the problem is. As far as pace all rounders is concerned, I think that is a general problem, because you will not find spin bowling all rounders in England or in Australia. You will mostly find, because pace bowling doesn't come naturally to a lot of cricketers in the country. India is also isn't, or Asia rather, isn't really the place uh, to produce a lot of pace bowling all rounders or paces in general. This is a problem that even Sri Lanka suffer with. This is a problem that even Pakistan suffer with. This is a problem which even Bangladesh suffer with. So that's really a subcontinent problem, because spin bowling is far more conducive. It has far more short-term benefits in at the grassroots levels, and then you can develop your secondary skill easily as well. So, pace bowling all-rounders, I just think, is a systematic problem in the whole of subcontinent. You really, really need to work hard and probably create academies that identifies, bowlers who are bowling fast, and then try and mold them into all-rounders, because it's not an easy job. With the return of Bumrah as captain, will he be a strong contender for Hardik in limited overs format? We can't make this. We can't really judge this on the basis of three matches versus Ireland. It's just too short a sample space. Sorry. Why isn't ICC including substitute rule in series like India versus Ireland? What might be the factor that might? Do you mean the impacts hub? Uh, what might be the factor that made BCCI bring in this rule in the last IPL? Uh, I think franchisees might have asked for it, because after the mega auction, like they lost a lot of balance in their squads, and probably when franchisees saw it being played, being used in the BBL, they thought that this is something that could help them overcome the balance issues. I'm not really sure if BCCI should have agreed to it, because uh, the introduction of the impact player rule really hampers the growth of all rounders in the game for sure. Do you think Washington Sundar has not been utilized properly? Like, can we play him at number five in Test or ODIs? His batting looks better. See, the question of his utilization comes in much later. He really needs to first make sure that he doesn't really, get injured a lot. And he's really not helped himself. He's also been unlucky with a lot of injuries. So, the question of his utilization comes in much later. He really needs to stay fit first. M. Rajesh says, Ravi Shastri says India need to play at least three. Lilish been playing 11, but when anyone asked him about the things happened in his tenure, he simply says he's not involved in selection, is coach. I'm not willing to believe that. I've said it many times that if as a coach you don't think you feel that you don't have a say in in selections, then I'm not really sure why would you sign up for such a job, to be very honest, because you will take a lot of beating when things go down. Your reputation is at stake. Anyway, I've now been speaking for roughly an hour, and now I'm a little tired. I am very, very happy and grateful that a lot of you tuned into this show and sent in your questions. Before I end the show, I would like to showcase the squad once again for the viewers who've just tuned in. Uh, this is the squad that India have for the Ireland T20I series. Bumrah is the captain. There is Ruturaj Gaikwad, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Tilak Verma, Rinku Singh, Sanju Samson, Jitesh Sharma, Shivam Dube, Washington Sundar, Shahbaz Ahmed, Ravi Bishnoi, Prasidh Krishna, Arshdeep, Mukesh Kumar, and Avesh Khan. There is no Hardik Pandya. There is no Shubman Gill. There is no Ishan Kishan. There is no Kuldeep Yadav. There is no Yuzvendra Chahal. A lot of new faces. And on the basis of the squad that is there, uh, please keep in mind that India have only two all-rounders, two genuine all-rounders in Washington Sundar and Shahbaz Ahmed, and both of them are spin bowling all-rounders. So on the basis of the squad that is there, the 11 that I have for the for tomorrow is this. My 11 has Jaswal and Gaikwad opening, Tilak Verma at number 3, Shivam Dube at 4, Sanju Samson at 5, Jitesh Sharma at 6, Washington Sundar at 7, Ravi Bishnoi 8, Jasprit Bumrah and Prasidh Krishna and Arshdeep Singh as the three pacers. So this is the 11 that I have, and yeah, you could leave a comment on the 11 that I have. You could leave the comment. You could leave with comments about your playing 11. And to all those who are watching, I would just like to request you to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your other friends and family who you think are absolutely fanatics of the game of cricket. Cricket.com will always have something or the other for you to like about, and consume some whatever content that is there. Tomorrow we will have a watch along for the first T20I. You should you should really download the app. And also, another thing that is there is that yeah, from the QR code you could download the app. Do follow us on social media, on cricket, on VR Cricket on Twitter, or now it's called X. You can follow us on cricket.com_official on Instagram, and we're there on Facebook as well. So do follow us for all cricket related content that is there, and do tune into the watch along tomorrow. I hope you really enjoyed the show, and yeah, like I said, don't forget to press the like button, and do tune in to the next episode of Deep Point with Gilly Cricket, which will be next Thursday. And by then the T20I series will be done, and there will be a lot to discuss about how the T20 series has gone and what have been India's gains from this T20 series. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Gurkirat Singh Gill signing off. And also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram too. On Instagram, I'm there as Gilly Cricket. On Twitter, I'm there as Gurkirat as Gill. So do follow me there, and you can always ask any questions that you have about the game of cricket over there in DMs as well. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was great answering all the questions that you had. Hopefully, I see all of you tomorrow during the watch along of the first T20I between India versus Ireland tomorrow. Goodbye.